The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. We often believe that true love means two people becoming one, unable to live without each other. But Jung revealed a truth far more unsettling. The souls that are truly meant for each other are not the ones who dissolve into one another, but those who remain deeply connected while staying profoundly free. In such connections, love is no longer just romance. It becomes a spiritual journey, a path where we confront our hidden shadows, where we grow, and where we finally become more of who we truly are. Why are these encounters so intense? And how can we tell the difference between real love and the illusions our unconscious mind creates? Let us step into Jung's world to uncover the secrets of the soul, of love, and of true freedom in human connection. Imagine this. You're sitting in a coffee shop you've never been to before, in a city you rarely visit. You turn to leave, and suddenly, your eyes meet someone across the room. For a moment, the air feels electric. Time doesn't just slow down, it stops. Not in the gentle way of a romantic movie, but with a force that rattles you inside. Your mind scrambles for explanations. Maybe they look like someone I know. Maybe it's just attraction. But deep down, something in you whispers, no, this is different. Every cell in your body screams recognition, even though your rational mind insists it's impossible. You've never seen this person before, and yet you feel as if you have known them all your life, maybe even beyond this life. Most people dismiss this. They tell themselves it's just chemistry, just coincidence, because to admit otherwise would mean accepting that the universe operates on principles far more mysterious than our logic can explain. But Carl Jung didn't dismiss it. He devoted decades to studying these uncanny moments and gave them a name: synchronicity. Meaningful coincidences that defy chance. Coincidences that cluster around people, moments and encounters that carry a weight far greater than probability. Jung noticed that when two souls truly recognize one another, the rules of time and space seem to bend. Events line up. Paths cross in ways too perfect to ignore. The universe itself seems to conspire for the meeting to happen. This is the shock of recognition, the doorway into a love that feels fated, overwhelming, and deeply unsettling. It's the moment where ordinary attraction ends and archetypal forces begin. And from this point forward, your life will never be the same. Synchronicity and the unconscious dialogue. Carl Jung often said that the psyche is not limited to the private theater of our own thoughts. Beneath the personal unconscious, those forgotten memories, hidden fears, and repressed desires, lies something far more mysterious: the collective unconscious. This is not imagination. It is a vast, invisible field of patterns and symbols that every human shares, no matter their culture, history, or upbringing. Myths of the hero, the shadow, the wise elder, the nurturing mother. They appear again and again across civilizations because they live inside us, waiting to be awakened. Now here's the unsettling part. When two people encounter one another at a certain depth, their unconscious minds begin to communicate long before their conscious selves catch up. This is why that stranger across the room can feel familiar. Your rational mind has no explanation, but your unconscious recognizes something ancient, an archetype, an alignment, a pattern that transcends ordinary life. Jung called these moments synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that reveal an invisible order behind apparent chaos. Think of the friend who cancels plans, leaving you free to take a train where you meet someone who will change your life. Think of the song that plays 3 times in one day, the book that arrives in your lap just after a stranger mentions it, the name you suddenly see everywhere after meeting a particular person. Most people wave these signs away as random, but Jung realized they form a language of the unconscious. And when two psyches are tuned to the same frequency, the world around them begins to reflect this connection. It is as if life itself starts whispering, "Pay attention. This meeting is no accident." But let us be clear, Jung did not approach this as mysticism. He was not claiming a supernatural force arranging your destiny. He saw it as evidence that the psyche is not contained by the skin, that our inner world and outer world mirror one another, and when two souls resonate deeply, reality itself bends to express their union. This is why what feels like chance can shake you to your core. Because it is not chance. It is the unconscious speaking, not in words but in symbols, timing and patterns. And if you have the courage to listen, synchronicity can guide you into the deepest, most transformative relationships of your life. But as Jung warned, recognition is only the beginning. The real test comes in what happens next, when the unconscious introduces you to someone who embodies not who you are, but everything you are missing. Anima, Animus, and the allure of the missing half. Jung made a radical discovery. Inside every man lives an anima, and inside every woman lives an animus. These are not about gender roles or sexuality. They are archetypal figures, the inner counterparts of our psyche. The anima is the feminine dimension within a man. Intuition, emotion, receptivity, imagination. The animus is the masculine dimension within a woman. Reason, will, action, clarity. Why does this matter? Because what we lack within ourselves, we often go searching for outside. Most relationships feel familiar because we are drawn to partners who mirror our dominant traits back to us. They confirm our worldview, satisfy predictable needs, and rarely disturb the structure of our psyche. These connections feel safe, but they rarely transform us. Then, something strange happens. One day you meet a person who seems completely wrong for you on paper, and yet you cannot look away. They carry a way of being that feels foreign, even unsettling, but also magnetic. They embody the qualities you never developed, the aspects of life you have unconsciously longed for without knowing it. This is the allure of the missing half. Your psyche recognizes its own complement. The attraction is not just physical, not even just emotional. It is archetypal. It is as if your soul sees in this person the keys to a locked room within yourself. Take Jung's example of Sarah. She always dated the same type of man, bold, charming, reckless, exciting, yes, but predictable. Then she met David. He was quiet, thoughtful, philosophical, the opposite of everything she thought she wanted. And yet for the first time, she felt seen, not pursued, not conquered, but understood in ways she could barely understand herself. Sarah's conscious self craved confidence and risk-taking, so she was drawn to men who reflected that back to her. But her unconscious longed for depth, reflection, emotional intelligence. David embodied her animus, the qualities she lacked but needed in order to grow. This is why Jung warned, such encounters feel like destiny, but they are also dangerous. Because when we meet our anima or animus in another person, the temptation is to idealize them, to project onto them all of our unlived potential. Instead of seeing the human being before us, we see an archetypal savior, the one who will complete us. But the truth is sobering. Your anima or animus is not meant to be found in another person. It is meant to be integrated within yourself. The other can awaken it, yes, but they cannot live it for you. And this is where the path of soul connection divides. One road leads to projection and illusion, the intoxicating fantasy of completion. The other road leads to individuation, the hard, humbling work of integrating what the other has awakened within you so that you become more whole, not more dependent. The allure of the missing half is powerful. It can feel like love at first sight, like fate itself has intervened. But as Jung reminds us, the real question is not who completes you, but who helps you become complete within yourself. The projection trap and the illusion of perfection. Jung once said, We do not see others as they are, but as we are. Nowhere is this more dangerous than in love. When you meet someone who embodies your anima or animus, the recognition feels like a lightning strike. Suddenly, you feel complete, awakened, transformed. And in that overwhelming moment, your unconscious does something very human, very dangerous. It begins to project. Projection is when you mistake the archetype inside you for the person standing in front of you. Instead of seeing them in their messy, contradictory humanity, you see an image, perfect, radiant, seemingly destined to save you from your incompleteness. Think of Rebecca and James. They met at a conference and within days were convinced they were soulmates. Rebecca saw James as the wise artist-philosopher who would rescue her from a mundane life. James saw Rebecca as the grounded earth goddess who would stabilize his chaotic energy. Both were right, but only partly. The truth was harder. James was creative, yes, but also depressed and prone to procrastination. Rebecca was practical, yes, but also controlling and emotionally distant under stress. These flaws didn't fit the archetypal fantasy, so their unconscious minds edited them out. They fell in love, not with each other, but with the reflections of their own unlived potential. This is the illusion of perfection, and it feels intoxicating, almost religious. That's why people describe their so-called soul connections with language like, "She completes me. He sees into my soul. We are two halves of the same being." It sounds divine, but Jung warns, it is not divine, it is projection. Because real human beings are not perfect. They are inconsistent, vulnerable, flawed. They snore, they forget, they disappoint. But projections never do. Projections are flawless because they exist only in your imagination. The danger is this: as long as you remain trapped in projection, you cannot truly love. You are in a relationship not with the other person, but with your own psyche reflected back at you. You are clinging to an archetypal mask, not embracing a human soul. Breaking free from this trap requires brutal honesty. It means asking, am I loving this person as they are? Or am I in love with what I want them to be? It means seeing not only their beauty but also their shadows, and choosing them anyway. For Jung, this was the critical threshold. The recognition of anima or animus may awaken you, but if you stay in projection, the relationship will eventually collapse under the weight of your illusions. Only when you allow the mask to fall, when you let go of perfection, can authentic intimacy begin. So here is the paradox. The same force that draws two souls together can just as easily blind them to the truth. The allure of destiny can become the most beautiful prison your psyche ever builds. And the question becomes, how do we tell the difference between true connection and archetypal illusion? Jung gave us a test, one that reveals whether a relationship is real or whether you are slowly disappearing into the fantasy. Individuation, the test of becoming more yourself. Jung believed that the ultimate purpose of love is not possession, not even comfort, but individuation. The word sounds technical, but its meaning is simple and profound. The process of becoming truly yourself. Every authentic relationship, Jung said, should help you expand into your wholeness. Not shrink, not fragment, not edit yourself into someone else's expectations, but grow into the fullness of who you are. And so he proposed a deceptively simple test. A question you can ask, not with your head, but with your daily experience. Does this relationship make me more myself or less myself? Rachel thought she had found her soulmate in Kevin. Their connection felt cosmic, destined. She had never felt so understood, so cherished. But when she applied Jung's test, something disturbing emerged. She noticed she was editing her opinions to match his. She softened her ambition because he preferred women who were supportive rather than competitive. She laughed at jokes she didn't find funny, even changed her style of music to align with his tastes. At first, she called it compromise, but slowly she realized it wasn't compromise. It was erasure. Kevin loved a version of her, but not the true Rachel. and Rachel unconsciously had collaborated in this illusion. This is what Jung meant by the danger of projection. The relationship may feel transcendent, but if it requires you to abandon your authentic self, it is not love. It is dependency, dressed as destiny. True individuation is the opposite. In a real soul connection, you find yourself braver about speaking your truth, more willing to take risks, more curious about parts of yourself you had long ignored. Your partner's presence amplifies your authenticity rather than diminishes it. You laugh more freely. You create more boldly. You disagree more honestly. You are more you. Jung called this the mark of a genuine bond. It does not demand conformity, it invites authenticity. It does not consume your identity, it enriches it. But this is not an easy path, because to individuate within love means both partners must face an uncomfortable truth. The person you love is not here to complete you. They are here to challenge you, to mirror you, to awaken you to your own depths, including the parts you'd rather avoid. And this leads us into one of Jung's most unsettling insights, that the deeper the love, the more fiercely it will awaken not only your light, but also your shadow. Shadow activation. Why deep love awakens our darkest fears. Jung observed a paradox that unsettles nearly everyone who has tasted profound love. The person who makes you feel most whole is also the one who awakens your deepest darkness. At first it feels divine, to be seen, to be cherished, to be lifted into a state of transcendence. But soon, another reality emerges. The same partner who makes you feel understood also triggers jealousy you didn't know you had, insecurities you thought you had conquered, rage you believed you had outgrown. Take Lisa, for example. She prided herself on being rational, mature, spiritually evolved. Years of therapy, meditation, self-development had given her confidence that she was beyond petty drama. Then she met Tom. Within months, she was checking his phone, questioning his friendships, feeling a possessiveness that horrified her. What happened? Did she regress? Did she choose the wrong partner? Jung would say, no. This is not regression. This is shadow activation. Your shadow is everything you've repressed. Your neediness, your envy, your selfishness, your fears. Most relationships skim the surface, leaving these buried. But transcendent connections pierce so deep that they stir the sediment of your psyche. They touch the unconscious in ways that make repression impossible. That is why the partner who sees you most clearly also sees the parts you want to hide. Love at its deepest doesn't just stroke your light. It drags your shadow into the open. And here lies the danger, but also the opportunity. If you mistake shadow activation for proof that the relationship is wrong, you may flee. But if you see it for what it is, an invitation to integrate what you have long rejected, then the relationship becomes a crucible for transformation. Lisa's jealousy wasn't really about Tom. It was about her own buried fear of being unworthy, her old wounds of abandonment. Tom's possessiveness wasn't about Lisa. It was about his terror of loss, his unhealed insecurity. Their love had opened the locked basement of their psyches, and what emerged was raw, frightening, but also necessary. Jung insisted, you cannot have transcendent intimacy without shadow integration. To love deeply is to face your own darkness reflected in the eyes of another. The question is not whether your soulmate will awaken your shadow. They will. The question is whether you and your partner can meet that darkness with honesty, humility, and courage, using it not to destroy each other, but to grow together. Because only then can love move beyond illusion, beyond projection, beyond dependency, into a space strong enough to hold both light and darkness, both ecstasy and fear, both the divine and the human. Archetypal love, eternal patterns that shape our destiny. Jung taught us that beneath the surface of every romance lies something far older than personal attraction. Love does not just happen between two individuals, it unfolds upon ancient blueprints, archetypal patterns that repeat across cultures, myths, and history. These are not mere stories. They are psychological codes woven into the collective unconscious. And when we fall in love, often we are not just meeting a person, we are stepping into an archetype. Consider the tale of Orpheus and Eurydice, the lover who descends into the underworld to retrieve his beloved. This pattern echoes across civilizations. In Japan, Izanagi journeys to Yomi to bring back Izanami. In Mayan myth, Hunahpu ventures into Xibalba to reclaim what was lost. In our modern world, lovers cross oceans, sacrifice years, endure impossible distance, all to hold onto a bond that feels larger than life. Or take the sacred marriage archetype, two complementary forces uniting to create something greater than either alone. Sun and moon, earth and sky, consciousness and unconscious. When couples say, "We are two halves of one soul," they are not inventing poetry. They are voicing an archetype that has lived in human imagination for millennia. These patterns give love its intensity. They make us feel as though destiny itself is unfolding through us. When a relationship embodies the teacher-student, the healer-wounded, or the seeker-guide archetype, it resonates with a depth that seems timeless. But Jung gave us a sobering warning. Archetypal love is powerful, not necessarily healthy. These eternal patterns carry both light and shadow. They can guide us into transformation or trap us in roles that suffocate our growth. Take Maya and Daniel. Their bond embodied the teacher-student archetype. At first, it felt profound. Maya offered wisdom, Daniel offered openness, and together they created a relationship charged with meaning. But archetypes are not static. Students grow, healers heal, wanderers find their way home. When Daniel began to claim his own wisdom, the foundation of their relationship shifted. The archetype that once bound them together now threatened to pull them apart. This is the hidden danger of archetypal love. It feels destined, eternal. But archetypes evolve. If we cling to the roles that first brought us together, we risk resisting the very transformation love was meant to bring. The healthiest relationships, Jung observed, are those where both partners recognize that they are not just individuals in love, but carriers of archetypal energies. With awareness, they can flow with the transformation rather than fight against it. And here is the paradox. The more archetypal a love feels, the more fragile it becomes if we mistake the eternal pattern for personal permanence. Love may echo the myths of gods and heroes, but it must still be lived between two human beings, vulnerable, imperfect, changing. So the question becomes, can we honor the archetypal depth of our love without losing sight of the reality before us? Can we live both the myth and the truth? Differentiation, loving deeply without losing yourself. We are told from childhood that true love means becoming one, that the perfect partner is our other half, the missing piece that makes us whole. Popular culture repeats this endlessly. You complete me. But Jung's final revelation about love turned this myth upside down. He discovered that the deepest, most enduring soul connections are not about fusion, they are about differentiation. Differentiation means this: the ability to love profoundly while remaining fundamentally yourself. It is the art of being deeply connected, yet profoundly free. At first glance, this seems contradictory. Isn't love about surrender? About merging two lives, two hearts, two destinies? Jung would answer, yes, love binds you, but binding is not the same as dissolving. When we dissolve, we lose ourselves. Our opinions fade into theirs. Our desires shrink to match theirs. Our identity becomes a mirror instead of a flame. This feels intoxicating in the beginning, a union so complete it seems unbreakable. But it is not strength. It is dependency disguised as destiny. True differentiation is harder. It means saying, I choose you, not because I need you to complete me, but because with you I can become more fully myself. Think of it as a paradox of intimacy. Two trees growing side by side, their roots intertwine beneath the soil, but their trunks stand tall and separate, reaching toward the sky. They share nourishment from the same earth. They shelter each other from the wind, but they never collapse into one stem. Their togetherness is strong because their individuality is intact. This is the essence of Jung's final stage of transcendent love: recognition, the spark, the synchronicity; projection, the illusion of perfection; disillusionment, the painful confrontation with reality; integration, loving the human being behind the archetype; differentiation, remaining whole while deeply bonded. And most couples never make it here. They stop at projection or they collapse under disillusionment. But for those who endure, who integrate the shadow, who support each other's individuation, something extraordinary emerges. From the outside, such love may look ordinary. These couples don't need to shout about destiny or prove their bond with dramatic gestures. Their intimacy is quieter, steadier, almost understated. But beneath the surface lies a foundation that is unshakable. Because when two people remain fully themselves while choosing each other, their love no longer depends on proximity or possession. It becomes a conscious choice, renewed each day. And that kind of love, free yet faithful, intimate yet spacious, truly can survive both time and distance. As Jung taught, the souls that are truly meant for each other are not those who cannot live apart. They are those who, even in freedom, choose to walk together. So what have we discovered together? That love, as Jung understood it, is not a fairy tale ending but a profound psychological journey. It begins with the shock of recognition, flows through the intoxicating currents of projection, crashes into the storm of disillusionment, and, if we dare to continue, it leads us into integration, shadow work, and finally, differentiation, the art of being both bonded and free. And this is Jung's ultimate truth. Neither time nor distance can separate souls that have already chosen each other. Not because they are bound by destiny, but because they are bound by conscious choice. Their love is not dependency, but a commitment to growth, to authenticity, to becoming more fully alive in each other's presence. If you've ever felt such a connection, one that awakened both your light and your shadow, you know how rare, how terrifying, and how transformative it can be. Jung invites us not to run from it, not to idolize it, but to live it consciously, to let love be not just romance, but a crucible where both souls are refined into their truest selves. And now, I want to turn to you. Have you ever experienced a meeting that felt more than chance, a recognition that shook you to your core? How did it change you? Did it help you become more yourself? Or did you find yourself disappearing into the illusion? Share your reflections in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. And if this journey into Jung's vision of love and the soul has resonated with you, please subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who might be searching for answers in their own heart. Remember, the most powerful connections are not about losing yourself in another, but about finding yourself more fully because of them. And that is a kind of love that truly endures. Beyond time, beyond distance, beyond fear. Until next time, keep walking the path inward, where your soul waits to be discovered.